2.5 million people, 3 million people in this space who are being serviced by this particular market. Secondly, we're also dealing with supermarkets in Zimbabwe who are becoming cartels, and that they could price any way that they want. If you look at the price of, for example, these horrible cauliflowers on my screen, this is $3.39 in the days of 1 gauge for a horrible cauliflower. And I think someone like Fresh in a Box actually came into the space to actually disrupt a market that's no longer fit for purpose because it's not hygienic anymore. It's now too crowded for what it's doing. And secondly, for supermarket chains that don't actually have any real competition from farmers themselves. What's happening? So, okay, sorry guys, there's somebody who is making noise outside. The second problem that we're trying to solve is of these young, amazing farmers that Zimbabwe has produced over the years, who are making great products and great produce, but are sandwiched in the middle of makoronyera and big supermarkets that don't want to give them a fair price, but want to take their hard work, sweat, and labor, and then put it into, onto market without them actually benefiting. I mean, as far as today goes, if you farm properly your cabbages and you try and take them to Mbare to sell them, you will find yourself bombarded by billions and billions of makoronyera coming at you. You know, these third class middlemen who come and harass you and try and get the best price for your cabbages. And you will not be able to get the price that you need to, that they then end up passing on to your customers. And then they sell it on to other middlemen, and then they sell it on to other middlemen, and so on and so forth. So a company like ours came in the middle of that and said, you know what? We as farmers need to be able to go directly to our own customers, because now we have the ways to communicate directly with our customers. And also we have the ways to logistically move and go to our customers' homes to deliver this food. Our product offering has now grown ever since our tomato products to many more products. Not only are we delivering vegetable boxes, we're now delivering fruit boxes, we're now delivering bread, we're now delivering water, and meat boxes. We have a great line of meat boxes as well that we're now also delivering. And the thing is, we discovered quickly that once people had let us into their homes to deliver vegetables, once people had let us into their homes and trusted us with their food, they're pretty much now willing to trust us with almost anything. Because once we've already loaded up our car with vegetables, we almost can now load up our car with anything in a shopping center and bring it to your home. We're doing the calculations just now, you know, using an average of how many boxes we sell per day. And we, to date, have sold or delivered over 2.7 million kgs worth of produce in Sarare, Bulawayo, Gweru, Kwekwe, Chirezi, Malawango, etc., etc. We've bought 2.7 million kgs worth of produce. As a very small startup, that's a big achievement. And it's almost, when my partner, when we were working this out, I was gobsmacked. My God, is that really how much we've moved? And if you look at the amount of boxes we now sell per day, including the meats, including the potato stacks, etc., and you combine that into an average of a daily amount operating 5 days a week over the last 2 years, we've moved a voluminous amount of vegetables as a very young startup. Okay. Leveraging technology has been one of the major keys in our success as a small business. We don't have the money to employ 1 billion people, but we do have this new technology that can talk to many people at one time and deal with a lot of your queries. One of our strengths is our ability as a young company to use some of the best talents to write us some of the best software best AI technology to speak to our customers at any given moment. So I was actually going to do you guys I'm going to do you guys a bit of a demo and show you that in action. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a sec. Then I'm going to share this other screen. Okay, cool. Hold up. Where are we? All right. So, okay. I'm going to show you another screen just to give you guys a demonstration of the things that we can do with technology that normally you would have to hire somebody to do. Okay, go desktop. There we go. Right. So I would like to share this screen. Right. Can everyone see the Fresh in a Box webpage? I hope everyone can see it. I hope everyone can see it. Okay, cool. In the corner there, I will go and I'll give you guys, my name is Kuda. I see my phone number is 0716111111. That's actually my phone number. I need help with the site, and I'll start the chat. Okay. I hope everybody can see this. So the person who is typing right now is not actually a human being. The person who's typing right now is a chatbot. And this chatbot, we've named her Lucy, and she's very, very smart. Hey, Lucy, what time is it over there? Give it a sec. Now, Lucy is great in that she understands natural human syntax, and she can do great calculations on the fly without me needing to be there. How much is your veggie? Let me say standard veggie box. Come on, Lucy, don't embarrass me. Fantastic. Okay. Mono deliver Eremu Harare. Okay. Let's see how good she is with misspellings and Shona. Right. Okay, a bit more complicated, but she's typing. Let's see what she says. Yes, we can't deliver. Okay, right. So she's picked up the obviously deliver Harare and so forth, and she's picked up that we only deliver in Harare. We've not only just set up Lucy for on our website, but we've also set up Lucy on our Facebook page. Cool. So let me share this properly. Share, I have to go to advanced, right? Screen proportions. Let's do this now. This works. There we go. I make this bigger one. There we go. Yeah, I can make it bigger. Okay, make it bigger so you guys can actually see. Hey there, do you guys sell wine? Okay, so it answers correctly. Sells the Lavinier range, so I can click on that. Sorry, there seems to be a bit of a lag, obviously, because I'm showing my screen, but let me ask a question. Kuda has amazing selection for Lavinier far and near. Here's the Glencairn stuff. I'm ask, can you send me a recipe? So forgive the lag. I can see you guys are probably seeing a bit of a stutter, but it's working great. Can you send me a recipe? So I send the message, can you send me a recipe? Hey Kuda, here's a cool recipe. cheese. So that will actually give us a nice recipe that I can watch and stuff like that. What are your RTGS prices? Okay. Due to volatile RTGS rates at the moment, you just have to go to the website. Stop sharing. Okay, guys. So I hope this is a quick demo on you leveraging AI to deal with some of the vast amounts of questions that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis when people are asking and need to use our service. And we don't have the time to have people having to deal with that. We actually have to leverage technology. So we've discovered that leveraging technology has made us faster and it made it easier for us to be the best and talk to our customers really quickly. And whenever a customer asks a question that Lucy cannot deal with, it automatically prompts one of our phones, and then we can immediately jump in and assist her. But that has made us be able to speak to thousands of people at the same time and be able to deal with orders, ordering, and stuff. You can also test this on our WhatsApp platform. Elma A50, is that you talking? Can you mute your mic, Elma? Elma A50, please. Can you mute your mic? I can hear you. All right, cool. Another thing that we've done really well ever since the very beginning was leverage technology to help us make better decisions when we're routing our trucks and our cars. Now, this is from the 28th of October, 2018, this slide here. It's become far more intricate than this, obviously, with the amount of orders that we're now doing. But the reason why I like to show this image is that even when you're routing, I can hear you loud and clear. It's not possible to mute these guys because I can hear them like, thank you, Redemptor. Like, I don't know, I thought you hear noisy, sorry. So the reason why I'm showing you this image, obviously, guys, is that if you look at where number 1 is, and where number 18 is, and where number 32 is, if a human being was making some of the routing decisions to make sure you deliver these 36 packages, for example, efficiently, what happens is that human beings would jump from 1 to 18 and so forth, spend the whole day and fail to finish these deliveries. But when we let computers handle our deliveries, what happens is we then get a really beautiful best route system. So we can get to all our customers, especially at times like these, when by 3 o'clock we have to make sure we are out of the streets because of curfews, etc. So using best routing software is also giving us a cutting edge in being able to do multiple deliveries during the day. And now from the 2 Honda Fits that we started with, we now have about 15 to 18 cars on the road every single day, including some pretty big refrigerated trucks. So that gets us to be able to do a vast amounts of deliveries in one go and get people's food to them quickly and fresh. Another thing that we've been doing really well as a company, I believe, is that we've allowed other people to sell on our behalf. So in places like Kwekwe and places like Bulawayo, where we are not physically there all the time, we have affiliate stores and we have affiliate partners who help us sell on our behalf and they gain a commission for that. We've also allowed other people in other shops, for example, Laser Audio Vision, who said they sell radio products, to host our stores using the QR code system. They can sell on our behalf and we can pay them commission all the time for the customers they bring to the table. You'll see in the top corner, you'll see there's a Sopranos, Avondale affiliate store, which was our first halal affiliate store. Had no pork products on it, and they were selling it to their customers as well. And then they were earning commissions by selling boxes on our behalf. So that we're not just selling by ourselves, but we're getting other people to be champions of our brand and sell on our behalf for us. So affiliate stores have also been a really great tool in getting more and more people to use our brand. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the advertising that we have used as Fresh in a Box. Now, this slide here, I hope is very clear. If you own a business or run a business, I know you have seen this button below every single one of your posts. And it's the boost post button. And the one thing that we don't do at Fresh in a Box is ever use that particular button. Now, that does not mean that we do not boost posts. Of course we do. But what I really have to reiterate to all young entrepreneurs and people in business is this. If you just click the boost post button, you get likes. And Facebook is very good at finding you likes. But those likes will be kids in Kazakhstan, a couple of teenagers at Alice Robbins, and those are not necessarily the likes you need for your business to sell, okay? We highly recommend as a business, and to other young businesses, that avoid using these lost money losing fallacies of getting more likes, because getting more likes does not mean you're getting more sales. We recommend that you actually use the advertising button, the advertising tools that Facebook offers and Google offers, so that you don't just waste your money paying 10 US bucks for 3,000 likes, because that's 3,000 likes is great, but you would rather have 20 buys instead of 3,000 likes. And I'll show you why. So if you look, for example, at one of our smart advertising budgets, we spent $23.84 on adverts. From those $23, we got 177 add to baskets, okay? So we reached 6,000 people, 177 of them added to the basket, which is what we want, people to buy off our website. So from that $23, if I take that $23 and I divide it by the 177 add to baskets, therefore it was worth me spending that $23. Now, the post probably didn't get 6,000 likes, but the demographics of the people that we placed that ad for were people who were actually going to buy from Fresh in a Box. And to use that, obviously, we use things like the Facebook pixel, Google ads, etc., to target the correct people on the Facebook pages. And we always make sure that when we're targeting people, everybody sees the right kind of ad for them. I'll give you an example. Some of you may have never seen these adverts, but these adverts have been seen by thousands of people. Now, the reason why some of you don't see these adverts is because you are not the target audience for this particular type of ad. It's very risque, it's very cheeky, it's very dry humor, it's using root vegetables as a form of advertising, order from us to get a really big box, right? Or we have a smaller box for couples, etc. Now, these are cool ads, but these ads, if they're service to my mother, who's a pastor in the Baptist church, will not work to convert her to becoming a buyer. This needs a far much younger, more quirky, diaspora type of thinking, exposed young person to use these kind of ads and cue them in to like and follow our brand. There are those people who are into weight loss, and we have targeted them with the health aspects of our vegetables. So whilst we're running some of the more risky ads, we'll also be running, fat to fresh challenges, where we actually put ourselves on the block to say we want to lose weight and we're going to eat only our vegetables for the next so many days. And people join us in our WhatsApp groups in these fat to fresh challenges. And we actually have a vibrant community of people who are all out here trying to help us lose weight, and we lose weight together. And they see a totally different type of ad set to the people who see the riskier ones. There are people who are into conservation and want to know that our boxes are recycled and that we're not wasting and cutting down trees. There are those people who like the more, if you like hot vegetables with the sexy veg on their thing. So we use smart advertising every day so that we are targeting the right people. If you're in the diaspora, chances are you're going to see ads promoting hampers, promoting Joey's Pizza sent to your loved ones. If you're locally in Zimbabwe, you probably see ads promoting our free delivery in Harare, etc. It's making sure that you're talking to the right people to convert them into becoming actual customers. Now, clicking the boost button doesn't do that. And number two, spending thousands and thousands of dollars in newspaper adverts and billboards and flyers cannot give you actual feedback like this, where you can actually say, okay, from the ad that I spent $23, and this is how many people added to the basket from this particular ad set. So as a generation, you have the opportunity to actually get some great results by spending very little money if you use tools correctly. I'm going to move on now to how we've tried to control our value chain. When we started with our tomato project, it was just us doing tomatoes. And immediately after tweeting, we got a lot of young people who then got in touch with us. And those young people got in touch with us and said, we are also farmers, and we also have great products that we can add to your box. So these are the people like Tonde, Dean, Mr. Muka, loads and loads of people who are just like us, who needed to find a way to get together and so that we could reach our customers better. So we created the Fresh Farm website, which gets people to upload their names, their details. It's got geolocation, and they can tell us what they're planting, what they're planning to plant. And then our agronomists, we have 4 agronomists who are employed at Fresh in a Box, go and see them. They add them to our planting schedule so that we can now start to plan and know what is coming in our boxes over the next period. So in all intents and purposes, Rufaro and his team have to make sure that for the next 6 months, with our growth projections, we always have the 17 different types of vegetables we have in our boxes. And there are moments in time when that demand has been stretched. For example, when COVID lockdown hit, we were hit with a lot more people than we ever expected. So that killed our schedule a bit. But when all things being normal, we know what our growth projection is. We can actually plan with our farmers to actually start controlling our value chain a bit better. So we can get people to start growing for us. We can help with inputs, we can help with advice, and we can always guarantee that we have particular vegetables. On top of that, we've actually had to invest in getting our own fresh farm, where we now employ about 36 people, and we've leased out a farm we've done a long-term lease in Glen Forest, where we actually now also assist in growing the vegetables for our boxes. Because the problem in Zimbabwean farming right now is that a lot of young people are failing to grow a lot of types of veggies because of capital issues. And number two, cabbage. And sometimes no one wants to do the cauliflower, no one wants to do the green beans, etc. So at the Fresh Farm, what we use the Fresh Farm as the best as a best practice farm that we can help launchpad a lot of our partner farmers and show them the best ways of growing things organically. Chemicals and stuff in Zimbabwe become really expensive. So we are really, really pushing biochemicals and organic methods of growing. So if you look at some of those spinaches and stuff, those are all grown in mushroom compost and organic fertilizers, etc. We're trying our very best to make sure we do not use synthetic chemicals, not only for the health reasons, but because of the prohibitive cost centers that are happening right now as our currencies bounce from left to right, and Zimbabwe doesn't have that much forex. I did allude to this a bit earlier. Being prepared and being agile as young startups is one of your biggest strengths. When COVID hit, there's not many of the bigger companies were ready for it. And some of them have no excuse because the world had already shown them what was about to happen. We knew what was going on all around the world, China, Italy, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of people just were not ready. And I think as a young company, even before the president shut down, we were prepared for COVID-19 because we could see what was happening on the news. So by the 16th of March, we already had a huge day of training for all of our members of staff. Say, look, COVID is going to hit, it's coming, whether we like it or not. Are we prepared? Do we have masks? Hi, pardon, Mujeri. I can hear you, pardon. Are you able, can you mute your mic, pardon, please? Thank you, pardon, God bless. So if you have the ability to be able to make quicker decisions and be able to move faster, what happens is that you can serve your customers quicker. If you can imagine, a lot of our bigger supermarkets were sort of caught left-footed. They were not ready for it. They were not prepared for, scanning people's temperatures. They were not prepared for sanitizing their buildings, the social distancing, etc. But as a young company, we made sure that we're always ahead of the curve. So we don't wait to be told by government to shut down. We will automatically, made sure our picking staff were wearing masks, wearing gloves. We made sure we sanitized our buildings. We made sure that our trucks were being sprayed. And we made sure that we implemented a zero contact delivery method to make sure that our staff are safe and that our customers remain safe. So that involved making sure that every day we have health checks for our staff, made sure that we provided PPE even before Zimbabwe even had its first case. It made sure that we sprayed all our vans in and out because we're going to people's homes. We want to make sure that we do not contaminate people's homes. And we made sure that when we're dropping off packages, we do zero contact delivery between us and our customers, just making sure that everybody remains safe. And I think being prepared and being agile as young startups is the best way to survive some of these crazy situations. If a startup saw COVID coming on the news in January, they could have easily have implemented Galaxy A9, thank you. If startups had seen what was happening in January, February in other countries, it was really easy for us to plan and make sure that when things hit, we were well prepared to be, to not have to close down our businesses when the president shut down the country. So we've been fortunate that because we were prepared, we didn't have to shut down, and we had made sure that we were classified as essential service, and we made sure that we servicing our customers throughout the lockdown period. Okay. Right. Just some more pictures from the time. So as you can see, we were spraying our cars way before the April shutdown. The next thing I'm going to move on to before I stop is strategic partnerships. Working with other people in the same space for the betterment of both brands and betterment of our customers. From the very beginning, we have not been afraid to partner up with other businesses that can help us and we can help them. Special shout out to people like Windy App, who are like Avaya, but have drivers and who assisted us greatly when we started in making deliveries to people's homes. Mutumwa Messenger being another one. In Bulawayo, there was Tumeza. These are other young companies who are operating by themselves, and we're operating by ourselves. But when we now had to start doing loads and loads and loads of deliveries, and we didn't have the cars to do it, partnering with these young people, these young companies, helped us scale up so much quicker. It helped us get faster so much quicker. It helped us get bigger so much quicker. So whereas me and my brother in our Honda Fits could only deliver 20 boxes a day. Just a moment. Sorry, someone in my office went on the phone. I couldn't hear anymore. So working with other people who are in the same spaces will immediately be able to increase your capacity to service your customers. People like Link to Load are a great example of a company that has been with us from the very beginning, work with us till today to help us move far more produce than we could have done before we even had trucks and motorbikes, etc. And we're lucky now we have a big fleet of our own, but that fleet is always complemented by great partners who can always help us move further and faster. Even in our product offering, working with people like Amp Meats to get great meat boxes packed for our customers, Future Water Bars, Baker's Inn for bread, Frozen Food Zimbabwe for the frozen food line that we're now offering, Cheese Man for the great cheese offerings that we now offer and dairy offerings that we now offer. It means that we don't have to start becoming experts in cheese. We don't have to start trying to pack vegetables and butcher boxes at the same time. We work with those of us who we feel are experts in that field. So, the Butcher Box brand is now growing exponentially. Why? Because we are pushing it and we're delivering hundreds and hundreds of these meat boxes every single day. And that's great for Amp Meats. It's great for us because people who are buying meat are also then buying veggies, buying shopping, buying bread from Baker's Inn and everything else. So we can now be a much more holistic company by learning how to work well with others for the benefit of everybody. Other partners, obviously, Sea Pride, Dotek with the wines and the beers, etc. Colcom with the bacons, etc. So we are very collaborative in the way we approach. We even collaborate with people who considered competition. We're willing to collaborate with even our competition. I'm going to move on to the last part of my presentation. Last part is taking risks. During the major lockdown, the first one, we discovered that as we worked late into the night trying to prepare veggie boxes for everybody, we couldn't buy a decent pizza for ourselves and our team whilst we were working because everyone had closed and was not prepared for COVID. So we started our own pizza franchise in partnership with Joe Bunga and the guys who do Battle of the Chefs. They have the kitchens, they have the expertise. We are obviously great at the technology and the speed in which we can deliver things. So by forming that great partnership with Joe and his team, Joey's Pizza was born. And that's, now bat for bat, serving more pizzas than some brands established for many years. I mean, I know we're definitely doing better than Pizza Hut, for example, in the amount of pizzas that we're selling and distributing every single day. And that's added a beautiful layer on top of the Fresh in a Box team, say that we don't just have to deliver vegetables. Now we can deliver fast foods, and who knows, maybe soon we'll deliver TVs, mobile phones. It doesn't matter anymore. Once we've mastered the tech of taking people's orders, being able to process money effectively and efficiently, we should now be able to deliver quickly. We should be able to then basically do anything. People buy people first, and I always talk about how a really important thing is, keeping your customers front and center. Keeping your first customers front and center. Your customers are the ones that are going to build or destroy your brand. Most of you will know, and some of you even in this room will know that there are now many, many, many versions of our business model that are now out there in the world. There's now many, many clones of what Fresh in a Box is doing. And I always have to tell people that we were not the first veggie delivery service in Zimbabwe. I mean, before us were people like Go Veggies. There was Imbari, but before us there was others. And after us there will be many more, right? There's too many for me to mention of people who have seen our model and are trying to replicate it and trying to better us. But the way we are going to keep winning is by our incredible focus on making sure our customer is always at the center of our business. We have built a very, very good team. This is a picture from about a year and a half ago. This is the first team that started Fresh in a Box. This team now has more than, I think, it has more than quintupled We now have many, many more employees, many, many more drivers. But this core team of people who started off with us are the team that was really customer-centric, customer-focused, and help us push. So I always encourage everyone that please always build strong teams. You know, put your customers first. Leverage technology. Don't be afraid to partner up with other people, even in different spaces who can help propel you forward. And take risks. Don't be afraid to push the brand. So thank you very much. That's all I'll bore you guys with as far as slides. I'm happy now to open up this for questions, contributions, etc., etc. Please let me know what you're thinking.
Brilliant, thanks, Kuda. So we've got a few questions that have come through. I will take the first two, the first three, which seem to be interrelated. So the first one came from Raymond, who says, you know, do you support domestic nostril payments? And then Nyarai also said, do you support diaspora customers? So Raymond, Nyarai, they're talking about what kind of payment facility or billing facility you have. I think those are probably potential customers. And then we've got Ossie, who says, how did you navigate billing online given the fluctuation of local currencies and also the issue of multi-currencies? So that's a more technical question. So maybe if you could tackle those three before we go to the next ones.
Okay, cool. Sorry. So let me just share my screen quickly. There we go. Right. So let's share that screen. So if I go here, what can you guys see? Can you guys see my screen?
Okay. Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, cool. So if you open up our cart, generally speaking, we have a USD and an RTGS equivalent. You can see the difference, right? When you click checkout, let me get rid of Lucy there. We have got RTGS, which is bank transfer, right? Now, if I go back to the shop, so I want to just show you something. If I go back to the shop and just add, let's say, a chicken, and I go to my checkout, you will see that I now have an EcoCash option as well, where I can put my EcoCash number and pay automatically. So we've covered the Zimbabwe payments with EcoCash and wallet transfer. If somebody wants to pay overseas or pay with a Nostro account, a card, we've given them a PayPal, Visa, and MasterCard option. And we've also given people an option to pay by cash. And that, you know, and like I said, I mean, it's important to illustrate some of these things, guys. Well, right, so if I choose CO delivery, right? If I go down to my delivery options, notice that there's a free delivery, $3 delivery, a $5 delivery, an $8 delivery, and a deliver now. That's our 1 hour service, okay? That's somebody paying with cash or paying with RTGS or EcoCash, right? So they get pretty much the same options, but in different currencies. As soon as somebody now chooses to pay by MasterCard, we lose the free option and give them the top 3 options. And that's because we have decided to just pay the fee to get switched into PayPal, Visa, and MasterCard. The fees are high, especially repatriating to Zimbabwe, which is about 10%, but we try and buffer it into our costs to make sure that even someone in the diaspora can order and pay. But if you're buying from the diaspora with the card, you generally then don't get the free delivery, because the free delivery costs us money. And after we finish dealing with all your charges and stuff, we don't get that money back. So we've taken off free delivery, but then everybody else, we've given a free delivery option, and we've also given you guys the option to pay with credit, debit card, etc. So when you click that, you can pay with PayPal, you can pay with a debit or MasterCard, and then you can pay from anywhere in the world, including Zimbabwe Nostro accounts. Great stuff. Any other question?
Yeah, Kuda. So before I go to the questions again, I have a question. I wanted to just walk us through, how did you, because your customer service is very intuitive. And so somebody who doesn't live in Zimbabwe won't understand why you have all of those options. Why do you have EcoCash, cash, you know, Zim Nostro and all of that? Just talk us through your thought process in terms of trying to be intuitive to your customer needs and then transferring that into a technology platform that would make your work easier and also meet your customers' demands. So balancing between intuition and then transferring that into technology. What's your thought process? How long does it generally take for you to convert something that you're thinking your customer would need into an actual facility on your website?
All right, great question. So what we've done with our site is made sure that it's 100% driven by tech and by AI. Right? So we're trying to make sure that everything is intuitive. So when I log into an account, give us a second, Mr. Moore. When I log into my account, you can see that it says Kuda specials at the top, right? Can anyone see can you see my screen? So
yes,
so
you can see it, yeah.
You can see that. So if I log off, right, automatically the specials and the discounts and stuff go away, right? So what we've done is made sure that when you come in from the diaspora or come in from England or come in from another place, we make sure that the website that you see is slightly different and slightly in tune with you more than anybody else. So if you're in the UK, for example, you generally will never see that there's an EcoCash and a zip it option, because you just don't understand that, and there's no need for you to understand that, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like we've designed the sites and then our tech to always be as data-driven as possible. And the biggest team, as far as on the exec level, is our developers. We have 5 developers who work full-time to make sure that your payments are going through safely, that your accounts are looked after, that the Joey's website and the instant orders are done properly, that the site doesn't crash, that Lucy gets smarter, because Lucy has to be the smartest thing, right? And by doing so, by having these people on deck, these young developers on deck, we've made sure that we can be really, really fast in our development cycles and processes. Now, to be honest, when I started Fresh in a Box, I was doing a lot of the coding myself. And then my brother Rufaro was helping, we're doing a lot of the coding and stuff ourselves. It was on Twitter where a young developer named Bakani contacted me on Twitter. And he did what many young developers do. He audited my code and he told me how shit my code was. He came into my DM and says, "Oh, this is the worst site ever. It's taking damn near 15 seconds to load." And he really sort of bruised my ego. Now, I could have done the noble Kuda thing and told you to F off, right? But I immediately asked him, "What's your phone number?" And then he gave me his phone number and I called him. I said, "Where are you right now?" And I think he thought I wanted to fight with him. So he said, "I'm enjoying a city." I said, "Great, jump into a Via, come to the bridge and let's talk," right? So he did. He came to the bridge and we sat down and he said, "I believe that your code is a good idea, but it's buggy, it's old school, and we need to move it to Vue.js," and all these things that he kept talking. And I realized, for the first time in a long time, I realized that I was no longer the smartest guy in the building. There was a smarter kid than me. So immediately I said to him, "How much would it be for you to rewrite my code?" And he said, "If you give me $250 right now, I'll do it." Now, I didn't have $250. So I said to him, "All right, cool. Do it. And if as soon as I sell $250 worth of boxes, I'll give you the money." Then he said, "Cool," right? Anyway, subsequently speaking, he rewrote the code for us. And then, Babakani then became an actual big partner in our process. He's actually a director now of Fresh Ideas, which is our tech side of things, right? And by working with him in that way, another young kid named Cyprian then got into our inboxes and told us how terrible Bakani's code was. He's a cocky young kid, and he said, "This is terrible. Your site is taking 4 seconds to load. I can bring it down to 1.2 seconds, and I can make it more, machine learning and all these weird things." And when we sat down with Cyprian, when he came to our office, Bakani then realized what I realized when I met him, that he was no longer the smartest kid in the building. So it was a great realization that there's always going to be smarter kids than us. And these kids are going to keep coming, and we're never going to turn them away. Whenever we can accommodate them, whenever we can employ them or partner with them, we will. And the kid who did the UI, for example, his name is Freeman. He didn't want to work for us, though we really wanted him, but he did a great front-end job, and then he left. And we paid him out for that. But then now we have a bunch of other young kids who have now joined the team who are also giving great contributions. So if you see the site that Kuda developed by himself many moons ago, it's no longer even the same. The things that are now going on in the back end as far as smart learning, customer prioritization, understanding people's choices, Google Pixels and Facebook Pixels, all that stuff that I'm too old to understand, is being handled by younger, more vibrant young people. And I think if there's a metaphor for our country, if we let young people take over, sometimes they'll just make us greater. I'm the one who's doing the speech right now, but I don't want to take any credit for some of the brilliance that's going on behind the scenes, because that's a lot of young people half my age are doing amazing things, and I'm really grateful for them being a part of my team.
Okay, and then another question here from Tinashe, which is very, very key. Tinashe says, what areas did you fail at? And I think most people probably don't know the journey that you've walked with other businesses that you've tried to promote. So just walk us through that. Where did you fail, even in terms of trying to market different ideas, and what did you succeed at, and how has all of that brought you to where you are now?
Okay, so I'll give you my two biggest failures. My first big failure was a startup that we did called Sendalighty. Okay, now Sendalighty was building off some of the tech we had built on the first iterations of the Fresh in a Box app, which was a hailing sort of app for young people to go do tasks and jobs for people. And that was a big failure. It wasn't a failure because we managed to get thousands of young people to register. We had a brilliant team behind Sendalighty, and I think, but the Zimbabwean economic, socio-economic state just didn't allow for it. We were paying bills, for example, for the Google APIs and the hailing situation. We're paying a lot of real money overseas, but we're earning Zim dollars, which we were being told was 1-to-1 gauge. And I think with Sendalighty, eventually we actually just ran out of cash. When you run out of the ability to keep the program going, because every time somebody opens their phone and looks at all the lighties that are in the area, and the hailer lighty, all that stuff was literally being charged. That's the Google API, 9 APIs that we had to pay for. And so we literally ran out of cash. And I think that was very bittersweet for me, because it's like, I really liked the lighties and we really had a great time with that program. And I think it's something that anywhere else in the world would have worked really great. But Zimbabwe that's when they then banned US dollars and all these things started happening. So it became impossible to keep Sendalighty going properly. We ended up getting lighties doing jobs, and by the time we were paying them in RTGS, the money had depreciated. It became a real mess. So instead of being exploitative in our process, we said, rather sunset this project and bring it back when we actually have a solid enough currency base, decent enough connections and internet connections, etc., to actually make this work properly. However, the beautiful thing about the Sendalighty database of people is that we've now got some really wonderful companies that have come out of that. So obviously the Jerry Can Boys have come out of that. Rescue has come out of that. A lot of Fresh in a Box employees and suppliers and people who do things like mechanics have come out of that Sendalighty program. And a lot of our lighties end up getting employed and so forth. So that's one of my biggest failures. The second big failure was a project that we did earlier this year before COVID hit. And the project was called Pay My, right? It was Pay My Netflix, Pay My DSTV, et cetera. And that was a way of, people pay us a lot of money overseas. We get a lot of RTGS over here. So and we can buy stuff in RTGS. Why don't people pay us in RTGS and we can pay for their services overseas, right? That was simple premise. As a way of getting some of our money back as well without some of the high charges. What we didn't know was that scammers around the world use things like Google Play vouchers and Netflix vouchers and Microsoft vouchers. Scammers around the world use those type of vouchers as a way of scamming money out of people, right? So we didn't know that. So what we did was we were now purchasing stuff like Netflix vouchers and Play Store vouchers, etc. And then people were buying these Netflix vouchers from us and were giving them. And then one day, these Netflix vouchers stopped working, right? At the beginning, when COVID hit, these vouchers stopped working. And what we didn't know was some of these vouchers had been scammed out of people and were being sold on unscrupulous websites where we were then buying them. And so in a sense, we ended up now having to refund a bunch of people from these with these vouchers. And what was a great idea stopped being such a good idea when we lost a bunch of money, right? Because like the people who have bought the Netflix voucher from us wanted to work. And if it doesn't work, we have to send them the money back. And that's what we end up having to do, right? So we end up sending a bunch of money back. But now who do we report to that a guy scammed us some vouchers, right? It's almost like being a drug dealer. A drug dealer, yes, you can't go to the police and say someone stole my drugs, right? You're almost at the stage you're like, oh gosh. So the pay my failure was pretty painful for us beginning of this year. And obviously the tech is now built. We'll hopefully bring it back. But Zimbabwe being a sanctioned country, which is what it is, let's not get it twisted. It's impossible for us here to buy Netflix vouchers officially from Netflix. They just don't allow it. If I was sitting in the UK, it would be easy. But here in Zim, I just can't do it legally. I have to use some of these other sites, and some of these other sites were not giving us these bogus vouchers. And after we had bought so many of them and loaded them on our system, we ended up losing quite a bit of money. So again, I told the team, close the site. I lost my underpants. And so let me, and it's pretty sad because when COVID lockdown hit, we would have made some really good money from people wanting to watch Netflix at home, but then it just became an absolute disaster. So those are two huge failures that we as Pushing a Box have started up that didn't work great in the long run.
So I've got a question here from Ngoni. Ngoni says, for your online marketing, how do you identify the correct message to deliver to your audience? So you alluded to that earlier, how your messaging is very intuitive. Somebody in the UK isn't going to see what somebody in Zimbabwe is going to see. So how do you identify the correct messaging? Is there an algorithm that you use, or do you, filter by interest? How to help Ngoni, how do you do that?
Look, I could give you the bullshit answer or the true answer. And the bullshit answer is we use great algorithms and intuitive, blah, blah, blah. The true answer is we let Facebook and the great ad companies do the thinking for us, right? So when you open up like your Facebook ad manager, for example, and then you upload a CSV of all your customers who have come or given you or filled out a sheet on your or a survey on your website, etc. What happens is that they can segment those people and actually call them an audience, right? And when you get this audience of people, or even if you walk if you're at a fair, like we did the food festival, and then you ask people to sign up for a free delivery or free raffle, then you upload those people who came to the food festival. You can actually get a profile of those people by their email addresses, etc. When you upload that CSV, you then tell Facebook, give me a lookalike audience for this list. So I'm looking for people just like this who attend food festivals. Then you can say, also, these people have bought from the UK. I need you to find me a lookalike audience of these people who live in the UK as Zimbabwean heritage and want to send food home. You can also say, I'm looking for a list of people who are like Candice Mwakaleli, young, upwardly mobile, live in Harare, and so forth, right? So then what happens is that you then do some A/B testing of ads, and what you start to discover is what certain groups and these lookalike audiences want to see. And that's how you convert them. Now, if you decide that one message fits all, you will be dead wrong. I particularly, for example, I'm an overweight father of 4. I drink whiskey, I swear a lot, and I've lived in Australia, right? The message to me is very different to your, I go komakandiwa, I pray 5 times a day and I fast, and I think all Jay-Z songs are satanic. You know what I'm saying? So if you choose a Jay-Z soundtrack for an ad, you may actually hit the wrong person because they're not your customer. So so when, for example, at the beginning of the year, we know which ads to serve to people who are being weight conscious. We know the ads to serve to people who are doing the Daniel fast because they're big at Celebration Center. We know the ads that we need to service to insecure young ladies who think they're getting a bit flabby over Christmas. We know the ones to serve to the macho beer drinking guy. You need to have multiple messaging for multiple different people. If you choose a one size fits all in the ad space, you are wasting your money. I assure you, the agencies in Zimbabwe are very good at giving clients bills for $100 boosts for 1 million likes of Kazakhstani and teenagers who don't even shop and buy pork pies. I assure you, this happens every day. So don't waste your money. It's better to spend $5 to the right people and not to the wrong people. I hope that answers the question.
So I've got another technical question. Well, this person is, I think, talking in terms of scaling up your business. So this is Miriam, who's saying, how did you manage to balance between efficiency and profitability, considering the fact that you deliver directly to people's houses? So that's from Miriam. And then another one also to do with scaling is from Nirai. She says, how did you handle scaling your business in terms of capital and resources? And what advice or tips can you give to other startups? So maybe we can tackle those two, and then we'll catch some more in the time that we have.
Okay, so efficiencies. Now, there's probably a good way for me to explain this when it comes to home delivery. So give me a sec. I'm just gonna find it. Maps, my places, right? Let's see. Okay, maps, right? Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys. Where are we? Your places. Maps. Right. Okay. Let me just share my screen real quick, and I'll show you. I'll show you how we sort of. I don't even know if I should be telling you all this stuff, but anyway, whatever. Shit. Okay.
You can just generalize, I guess.
It didn't
way too
matter.
many secrets, but yeah.
Okay. So if you look at this map, for example, Fade custom. This is pushing a box customers for today. Okay. Can you see the clusters of the customers right now? Right. You can see that, right? So let me probably zoom out so I don't give you my customers' names, right? But anyway, if you have a good look, doing a delivery to this person over here and doing a delivery to these people over here has got different cost centers. Do you understand? So if I route my trucks to go and do these deliveries over here in the clusters, right? Sometimes they're delivering to neighbors in the same street. Do you understand? So basically, the way it works is that when people are finished ordering in a day, we split all these addresses into a logical routing, okay? And when we split in this logical routing, we can say one truck can service 100 people in the Mount Pleasant area. Now, those people are so close to each other that the fuel used for that 5-6K radius delivery is very cheap. So by charging people these delivery fees, what happens is that there's some sort of socialism or communism that goes on, where the people who are in clusters who pay delivery charge are subsidizing the Mbuya in Budiriro who also ordered a veggie box. So it may cost me more to deliver a veggie box to Budiriro to one Mbuya, right? But because I have 200 deliveries in Mount Pleasant, Ballantyne Park, and Mount Borrowdale, I can afford to go to Budiriro to service my one customer. And what we discovered is that when we service one customer, those customers start to mushroom and become many more customers. You understand? So that's how we scaled up. Now, we didn't manage to get to this many people by magic or by our brilliance. No, like I said, when you looked at someone like Windy App, who had taxis which are always on the road, but then between 9 a.m. and 12 noon, the drivers are sitting doing nothing. And then after the lunch rush, between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., again, the drivers are doing nothing, right? So we're talking to Mkuma Patrick, we actually came up with a great model so that we could still get the drivers busy during their downtime, right? Get them busy during their downtime, but at the same time, not paying what a passenger would pay to be in their car. Because one Sudan could easily fit 10 boxes of vegetables. So they can do the whole Twickenham and Corn Road for me for the price of one trip. You see the way it works. So the way we scaled was by partnerships, by leveraging other people. You know, right now, for example, we have partner drivers. Well, just like you, for example, you have a car, you can go to Fresh Logistics, you can register your car, we'll train you for a day, and you can also log in the morning and say, I'm available to do deliveries. And we have some great guys, like guys we've met, guy named Torongo who does our Chitungwiza route. We train him for a day and he comes in every morning from Chitungwiza, logs on, and we give him our Chitungwiza boxes. And when there's too many for him, he brings a friend. And you know, that's how we've managed to scale up. So we can do 2,000 deliveries in one go. And we can also get back down to just doing 20. And that elasticity means that these people are not necessarily our employees. They're just partner agents who come in and help us when we need the help. Similarly with the farming. When business is low, Fresh Farm can handle the boxes. When business needs to expand, we have 2,000 farmers who can immediately give us more broccoli. So we're very, very proud of the fact that if you need to find 3,000 tons of broccoli, there's nowhere else in Zimbabwe you should go. You should come to Fresh in a Box, because we probably have enough farmers to meet that demand, but nobody by themselves can.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm conscious of the fact that we had advertised this at ending at 4:30. So technically we've got 13 minutes left. So I'll just take as many questions as I can. If I don't take your question, please forgive me. I'm not scratching you. It's just that we've got a lot of questions here. So we've got a question here from Hillary, who says, when did you find it feasible or practical to have an app, considering a lot of business usually rushes to build infrastructure before there's demand for it? And at the same time, you also want to be ready for change and be adaptable and be forward thinking. So I think he's kind of thinking, you know, in terms of technology, was that, did you put technology first, or was it your infrastructure first?
So we started off taking orders via WhatsApp. We started off tracking our drivers via WhatsApp. We didn't wait for the perfect conditions to start operating, because that's a mistake entrepreneurs make. As I sit here today, guys, we at Fresh in a Box, we do not have a mobile application on any Play Store or on the iStore, right? We don't have that. Now, we have them in development, but we really, really wanted to get our web app to be perfect first. And by making our web app a progressive web app, so now you can add our web app to your home screen, it behaves very much like an app. So, because I didn't want to spend $5,000 for nothing, right? And because $5,000 can buy me $5,000 worth of meat that I can put 30% markup on, or it can give me, it can give my ego a boost and have an app in the App Store. Now, Go and download any of the terrible Zimbabwean shopping apps on the App Store, and you will realize quickly that some of these people have more money than sense, right? You don't want to give people a horrible app experience. You want to give them a great shopping experience that's easy to work out. And that's why we've taken our time to build a great app. And when you guys see it in the next month or so, some of you will download it, but I believe that we've made our website so easy to use, you don't actually have to worry about downloading the app. But I need people to be 100% on this. If you wait for perfect conditions, the perfect website, the perfect logo, you'll never start. I really believe that, you don't have to have a logo. We didn't have a logo when we started. And I think I'm sure if you Google our logos leaves, you'll find them somewhere. I don't even think we paid a design. I think we download them off FreePay. So that's not the biggest deal, right? But we're starting to make sales and starting to make gains and being cash flow positive means that you can start doing other things. You can start building the websites. And like I just told you the story with Bakani, we didn't give him cash to start off with. I didn't give him a long story about, hey, we're going to build the next biggest thing. I just gave him a promise that if I make sales, which you'll see, I promise I'll give you some money, right? And I think this is sometimes the best thing to do is to find great young people who are willing to work with you to build great things. And eventually, we all then do much better.
Mike has been eagerly waiting for me to read this out. So I think Mike is saying you've got a broad range of products that you market, and some of us have products which we struggle to market. And can we market through you under your brand or through a profit sharing agreement? I think there's somebody else who said they sell honey. Somebody else said they sell herbs and spices. So similar questions around that. This is potential business for you and them. So maybe you can just talk through that before our time runs out.
Okay, so absolutely. Ever since we started, we've always, if you followed us on social media, you will know that even as far as yesterday, a young girl named Becky, who's 15, approached us and says that she wants to raise money for university fees. And she bakes biscuits, and we've assisted her in trying to market her biscuits, and we've listed them on our site. She's used a great, she's used Equid Store to build a great website for herself. It's a drag and drop type of software. So we've actually been market our own direct website as well. So we love working with other people. It's, someone who has honey, of course, we immediately will list things of that nature. People who are doing peanut butter, people who are doing herbs and spices. We want to talk to everybody. We never promise to be the magic bullets of sales. However, by giving you access to our customer base, and you can give us a best price, for example, it's a win-win. We will gladly take honey off your hands at a great price, pass it on to our customers at a great price, avoid having too many middlemen in your process. And that's what we want to do. We want to build this camaraderie and this community of selling. People love supporting local, and we are at a time now when, I'm so happy that sometimes we deliver cabbages to Mandara from a farmer who was also in Mandara. Sometimes we deliver broccolis from our warehouse in Glen Forest, from the northern suburbs to other people in the northern suburbs. And the people who are eating the spinach from our Belvedere supplier are people in the Ridgeview areas. People are eating local because for us it's cheaper. Warehouse, come to the closest warehouse to you and we'll distribute it. And at the same time, we can give our farmers and our partners quick payments and a proper price. Like we don't do the whole supermarket rip you off and pay you in RTGS after 30 days. We try and treat you like how we want to be treated. So of course, anyone who wants to list with us or has got a product they feel they could partner with us, please drop me an email, admin@freshenerbox.co.zw. That's a catch-all email for all our execs. And if you just tell us about your product, how much you're selling it for, etc., we'll gladly work together on these things. Now, don't hit me up for tsuro meat because Nobody eats that. Don't hit me up or, for flooded products. People who, everyone is now selling dishwashing liquid, for example, and no-name dishwashing liquid. People are very, very sensitive about things they use on their hands and so on and so forth these days. But definitely with a lot of other products and healthy products, we definitely are up for partners.
Okay, we've got 6 minutes left, so I'm going to take 2 questions. Both of them are looking into the larger economic environment, and just because this is a big problem for a lot of startups. So somebody's saying, how are you dealing, and this speaks directly into COVID, and the disruptions with COVID-19. So businesses the world over are closing down, they're shutting down because they can't keep up with the changes that are taking place. And they don't know what the regulations are going to be tomorrow. So this is Chikomo saying, how are you dealing with the business interruption in terms of many pronouncements by government and RBZ? And how do you keep abreast of trends in an environment that has rules changing persistently? So this, yes, speaks to COVID, but then there's also larger policy issues that are just, constantly changing for any Zimbabwean entrepreneur. There's a lot of uncertainty. So that is the first question. And then the second one says, how do you manage to navigate your way through the process of formalizing your business regarding the ease of doing business in Zimbabwe and the registration process with regulatory compliance like ZIMRA, NASA, EMA, and the banks? So both of these are speaking into just the drudgery of trying to comply, in Zim, and then also keep up with the changing policy direction. So how do you do that? I think that would be our last question. I'm sorry to everybody else who's asked anything, but how do you keep up with the changes? So there's those regular changes, and then there's also the changes that are coming because of COVID. How do you keep abreast with all of that? Do you have a team that looks out for those things? Do you do that on your own? Do you map things? Just talk us through some of that.
Okay, cool. So every single day at 6 a.m., because we wake up about 4 a.m. To get, harvesting and to get all our farmers received. So by 6 a.m., we have an HODs meeting where I meet with my most trusted lieutenants, my brother, Tinashe, Charisma, Rufaro, my wife, Norma, my accounts guys. And what we do every single day is talk through how we're going to deal with the compliance issues that affect us in Zimbabwe every day. So we have to be absolutely cognitive that our government rules by SI. They change the rules every day, which is why we've had to make our website so dynamic, because we know that one day it's legal to sell with US dollars, the next day it's illegal to even show a US dollar price, right? So we always have to be thinking about how to remain compliant. Now, I don't know how many of you know me from other walks of life, but as you know, someone like me is always under the microscope of these people, right? If I get caught slipping, they would enjoy parading me and flogging me in the shame of the walk of shame. So we have to be 100% compliant at all times. We don't make, take shortcuts. We for example, I'll give you one example. If somebody hands you a payment in US dollar terms and you don't declare it and you decide to burn it and what. These are the kind of things that can start to really cause trouble when someone comes to scrutinize your books and so forth. So we try our very best to be as quick to adapt and as quick to be nimble on our feet when it comes to these regulatory nightmares that make it very hard for businesses to happen in Zimbabwe. And there's many times when we're caught flat-footed, and many times that we have to adjust. 3 years ago, we could have developed our app to accept Apple Pay. But now you can't accept Apple Pay in Zimbabwe because we're a sanctioned country. There's a billion problems that we have to solve so that we can keep trading. So my advice to someone who's just trying to do things that, to get registered, etc., is do things the right way. Do things the right way. Any shortcuts you make right now will come back to haunt you, and I assure you of that, right? Go to company's house, try and register your company, try and keep abreast, get your tax clearance, and because if you can do it here, guys, if you can do it in this nightmare, then you can do it anywhere, right? It's almost like if you can follow the rules here in Zim, and they're really tough and they change all the time, then when you are setting up your business in Zambia, in Rwanda, it's going to be a doddle. So let's take some of our problems as we are in a training ground, a regulatory training ground where things can change quickly, so that when we actually, when our businesses grow, and I pray and hope that all your businesses are going to grow past these borders, you will find that everything is going to be so simple. I'll give an example. Fresh in a Box Zambia was so easy to set up. Our accountants at Becca Tilly set it up for us. And we have a partner, obviously, who has to be a Zambian, whatever, but everything there was so smooth. I haven't even had to call them for the last 2 weeks because I know everything is fine. They can't say the same for us, but the team in Zambia is always fine because everything is, they're happy to accept and get paid in their kwacha. The tax regime is very simple to navigate. The farmers can give us a bit of credit because the value of their money doesn't depreciate so quickly, etc., etc., etc. Right? It's a very easy place to exist. So, but then it's because of that, because of Zimbabwe, we've managed to, because Zimbabwe is so difficult for us, we've been able to make it so much easier as we now with our expansion plans across the pond. Now, I'm going to answer one more question as well that somebody said, was like, how did you fund your business? Well, I funded my business in the easiest way possible, guys. There is no capital in Zimbabwean streets. And we funded our business by taking our customers' money the night before and making sure the next day we delivered to them a box of vegetables. And by keeping that promise over and over and over again, the customers have funded our business. Everything that you see, if it's the new trucks, if it's the new bikes, that's been bought by the fact that we have delivered hundreds and hundreds of thousands of packages. And when we screw up, and sometimes you screw up, when you're doing 1,000 deliveries a day, like some of those crazy COVID days, you screw up. But if you're willing to put your hands up and say, we screwed up, we're bringing your sack of oranges, or we screwed up, your strawberries were terrible, we'll give you another box of strawberries. If you're willing to always be honest, communicate openly, if you go on our website page, you will see that every week I talk to our customers honestly. When I'm putting up prices, I tell our customers honestly why. We give them a real justification so they feel like they are also part owners of our business, which they are, because without them, we don't exist. So the way I funded my business is by making sure that we always keep our promise, sometimes to the detriment of the business. Sometimes you will lose money. There's a day we delivered 100 or so boxes with bad broccoli. Now, I want you to understand the problem. When you deliver 100 boxes with terrible broccoli, then you go on Facebook, then you say, I'm really sorry, but we gave you guys off broccoli. Trying to fit in another 100 deliveries on a day that you have to do new deliveries is insane. And we lost a lot of money. But by doing that, we regained the trust of a lot of people who had already written us off as our voices as serious. So I really urge people to take customer service seriously. Every single time we take a replacement box to somebody, they look surprised. And that is so sad because they're so almost shocked that, oh my God, you actually acknowledged you made a mistake. Wow, it's an un-Zimbabwean thing to do. Let's make it the Zimbabwean thing to do, to put our customers first. And then we'll fund our businesses through our customers. And I say this to all our competitors as well. Whatever we make, whenever we're putting out our stuff, with integrity, let's care about every single box so that these people keep coming back and we build this industry, this online shopping delivery industry, because it's the future. And we hope that I hope that they always look at people like us as Fresh in the Box, not as the people they're trying to fight. We're actually fighting the old paradigms of old supermarkets, bad vegetables, bad service. That's what we're fighting against. And let's change that paradigm and become the new great way of servicing the population of Zimbabwe.
Kuda, thank you so much. It's 4:34. We could listen to you all afternoon, but I'm afraid we have to cut this short. And I want to summarize what you said with a quote from Sheila. And this is to you, Kuda. I'm sure you haven't been able to keep track of the comments. Sheila says, Kuda, thank you so much for the comprehensive presentation. Lots to take away. Preparedness, risk-taking, strategic partnerships, right team members, smart advertising, linking with outgrowers, and having distinguished market segments locally and in the diaspora. And she had to leave early, so she probably won't know that we've read out her comment. But yeah, thank you so much, Kuda. We've got a few people here who are just also highlighting the importance of integrity, and everybody's just saying thank you so much for the opportunity to hear how you've made it. And I'm sure a lot of people here are startups, and they will one day point to the impact that you've had, even in this short 1.5 hours. But thank you once again. I think we have to end our webinar here. But if you are in the audience and you want a recording of this, I've put my email address in there, so you can just pop me an email. And when we send it out to those who would like it, it should be available there. We'll also put it up in our entrepreneurship lab. I put a link to that lab in the chat section. If you'd also like to find out more about NextGen, the entrepreneurship program that is hosting this, this webinar, which is part of Severe Institute, you can also get in touch with me in my email address, which I posted in the chat area. Kuda, thank you once again. If you've got any parting words, but for me, that's it. If you've got nothing else to say, I think we will call it a day.
No, look, thank you for having me, guys. Really a lot of fun. Anyone wants to listen to this, please hit us up on admin@freshinthebox.co.zw. If you want to register as a farmer, farmfresh.co.zw, give us your details, take a few photos, and then the following the team will get in touch with you. I'm going to write it over here, farmfresh, .co.zw. Yeah, and then, yeah, you know, look, let's not be afraid, guys. Zimbabwe does seem like a hellhole sometimes, but it's like I said, it's a great training ground. I think there is opportunities for us young people to, you young people, shit, I'm not 40, you young people to really do some amazing things. You have the tools in your hands, use them. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Go out there, make your mark. I'm sure you'll be great. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again, Kuda. And to everybody else, thank you for attending our webinar. We have to end it now because we've already gone over our time. But thank you for attending. Like I said, if you want to get in touch with Kuda, his email addresses are there in the chat area. If you'd like to get in touch with Severe Institute, the links to Severe are in the chat area as well. My email address is belindac@severeinstitute.org. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and have a good evening. And we'll see you on our next webinar as well. Okay, have a good evening. Okay.
Thank you.
Tatenda.
Thank you.